Welcome back to the Mischief. I'm Vallen, and this is Thaumcraft 5, Getting Started, my part 2 of the series. But in this one, I'm just going to go over a really quick getting started guide. It's just to get you really quick into Thaumcraft and up to where you need to be so that you can branch out just about anywhere you want to go. So, if you don't have the patience for the first getting started, that's what this one here is for. It'll cover a tiny bit of the first episode, but in a very short amount of time. So, here we go. First thing you'll want to make are some scribing tools, as shown here. Make at least 2, but I recommend making several. Make yourself at least 2 tables, as shown here, and you'll only need 2 of those. Make yourself at least 2 iron caps made from iron nuggets. You'll need 2 of these, plus a stick. Take the 2 iron caps, put them on the stick, get yourself a magic wand. Build yourself a bookcase. Then place the bookcase down on the ground, as such. Take your magic wand and right-click the bookcase. Get yourself a Thaumonomicon. Then build yourself a cauldron, as shown here. Place it down, tap that with your wand. Get yourself a crucible. Take those 2 tables that you made, place them both down, wand one of them, and you get yourself an Arcane Workbench, which will take your wand inside of it. The other you'll want to tap with Scribing Tools, and you get yourself a research table. Next, you're going to want to get into research. This is probably the slowest part of the game, but if you look in your Thaumonomicon, you can see that there are several tabs. Once you get to your basic screens here, first thing you're going to want to do is research your research expertise. Now this is under assuming that you understand already how to do research in the table. If you do not understand, I recommend you go back to the previous video as it goes through that in depth. And as I said before, this is a quick start guide. So, moving on from that, get yourself research expertise, then immediately do research mastery. Getting both of these will ensure that any further research is going to be that much easier. Next, you're going to want to go to the Artifice tab. In here, you're going to want to get Enchanted Fabric, which, once you make that, you will want to make a whole bunch of Enchanted Fabric. Make yourself the entire set of Thaumaturge's clothing, and you can see here, I'm wearing the clothes. This will ensure that you are therefore able to make things a bit cheaper, than you normally would while crafting in the Arcane Workbench, which is here. Next, you're going to want to make yourself a Thermometer, which is made as such. Any of the shards will do. 2 pieces of gold and a glass will get you this. Before you can move on to the Goggles of Revealing, to gain that sweet 5% discount from 1 item of clothing, you'll need to research a little bit more. Alchemy. In here, you'll want to go to, from your basic alchemy, Magical Metallurgy. This will allow you to make Alchemical Brass, as well as Thaumium in your crucible. Now that you can make Alchemical Brass, you can make yourself Goggles of Revealing, which will get you a further 5% V discount. Make yourself a couple of brass ingots, some leather, 2 more thermometers. You'll want to keep 1 just for yourself, and you'll be able to get yourself some Goggles of Revealing. This will allow you to easily see things that you normally would not be able to. For instance, aura nodes, as well as the contents in a crucible, among other things. Already have yourself a favorite headgear slot? No worries. Just holding the Goggles of Revealing will allow you to see these things, just as if you were wearing them. Now that you've got the whole getup, you're able to progress on a little further. Next, we're going to want to research Arcane Stone. With this, you'll be able to build an infusion area, eventually. It should be mentioned that Arcane Bellows is a worthwhile investment. Just by making this and attaching 1 or 2 or 3 or more to a furnace can speed up its production considerably at no additional cost. As you can see here, it moves quite quickly. This could also help speed you along in your endeavors. And I have 3 attached to this one. Moving on, now that you have Arcane Stone unlocked, you're going to want to try and get to Infusion. But before you can get there, you'll need to get Essentia Distillation, which, once you are able to unlock that, through researching either Elementum, Nitor, you will then be able to craft yourself an Essentia Smeltery, which is going to be required for the next steps. With that unlocked, you're able to create an Infusion Altar, which an Infusion Altar is made simply with some Arcane Stone, Arcane Pedestals, a Runic Matrix, and you should be good to go. Essentially, you just place these, as I have here, in a 3x3 area, just filling 2 high on each of the corners. Place a pedestal in the middle. You don't have to have these pedestals on the outside. I'll explain those in a minute. And then you're going to want to work on building the Runic Matrix up on the inside here, and then removing any excess. Take your wand, and if you've done it properly, poof, you should be able to make yourself an Infusion Altar. Now, by surrounding it with arcane pedestals on the 4 sides, you'll be able to craft different recipes. For example, Boots of the Traveler require an arcane infusion, with 6 different arcane pedestal locations around the center of an arcane altar. So, we can actually set them up to be just like it is suggesting. Like this, and this. So if you look here, I now have 6 slots. Maybe not exactly like the picture that we saw, but we now have 6 around a central pedestal. And if you want, you can actually have a hopper feeding these items. It's often recommended to have multiples of the ingredients for the recipes, so that you end up having a backup should they end up getting destroyed in the process. So, therefore, toss one in, it shows up on top here. If you have another one in place, it will end up going into the next slot. Oops, provided I can even get it on top. There we go. So that you will have a backup in case the primary does get destroyed in the process of making whatever it is that you're trying to craft. It should also be mentioned that if you make tallow candles or use different player heads or skulls, you're able to offset the possibilities of bad outcomes from crafting with an arcane altar like this. And the thing is, though, they have to be exactly opposite. And by that, I don't mean just from one side to the other. I mean as if this 1/4, so if you were to draw this entire thing in quarters, actually I will demonstrate here. If you were to draw this in quarters, then essentially each quarter would have to be identical. So, currently as is, it's going to cause even more issues with these guys sitting over here. But if you look over here, ignoring the jars that I have on 3 of the 4 sides, you can see that there is currently a lot of symmetry going on. So the more symmetry you have, the better off you're going to be. I've got some skulls, I've got some candles, and it's the same on each of the 4 corners, or just 4 sides. I've got hoppers feeding a bunch of the pedestals. They don't have to be above ground. They can actually be sunken into the ground, which I recommend just for ease of access to the central pedestal. And you're able to actually infuse things. From here on out, you're going to have a lot of things unlocked. Let me zoom back out. And you should be able to progress on with minimal issue getting to the outlying items. Thaumaturgy as well. Now, it should also be mentioned that the Thermometer, if you press the F key, will take you through the different levels of the aura that are around you, as well as if you right-click on things that have question marks, it should actually give you some kind of possible research about those items. The more items that you're able to right-click, then it will end up telling you if you're able to learn anything from it. For instance, you've gained practical knowledge of Potentia, and so on. And it can also unlock things in your Thaumonomicon. Allow me to demonstrate with another account that I have where I did only research without scanning anything. In this account, I've researched everything by hand without actually using any of the secret unlock abilities that you can in creative mode. And you can see that I have some things that just are not unlockable, even though I've unlocked all the prerequisites beforehand. I also have the same here. All of Alchemy looks like it's unlocked, but I only have 72% of it. Artifice, 48%, but you can see that there's 3 items here. Thaumaturgy says here 90%, but it looks like everything's unlocked. Plus, I don't have the golems, and I don't have the Eldritch tab. These things are going to be required for you to actually end up, to be able to unlock those, you will need a thermometer, and to be able to scan things that you have not scanned as of yet. Bestia, and so on. It should also be noted that that is not the only other way for you to be able to actually gain access to certain research. For example, the Primal Charm. I crafted one of these, and just having it in my inventory, at some point, I actually unlocked new research. So, there you go, people. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give a like, comment, subscribe, and if you think others will benefit from this, please share. And until next time, see ya.